Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe to the channel, like and leave your comments. 2015. Neymar started 2015 with a brilliant performance against Atletico de Madrid in the quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey, scoring twice in the Catalan victory by 3-2 at the Vicente Calderón Stadium, ensuring his qualification to the final of the competition. On April 21, Neymar was the protagonist of the victory that placed Barcelona in the semi-finals of the Champions League, scoring both goals in the confrontation against PSG, 2-0, at Camp Nou, with his second goal competing as one of the most beautiful in Europe. Neymar was once again the protagonist in the match against Bayern Munich in the Champions League semi-final, where he scored the 2 goals that ensured the classification of the Blaugrana team for the final. The number 11 also had another great performance in the Copa del Rey final, helping Barca to defeat Athletic Bilbao 3-1 and win their second title of the season. The number 11 scored the second goal of the game, and caused controversy at the end of the game when he tried to apply a reel to an opposing defender, and this dribble is considered disrespectful in Bilbao. In the final of the UEFA Champions League, Neymar scored the goal that secured the 3-1 victory in the Triple Crown title for the season. With a great performance, the Brazilian was the best on the field and finished the competition among the top scorers, with 10 goals scored. On November 21, Neymar had a great performance against Barcelona's biggest rival, scoring a goal and giving a beautiful backheel pass to Andrés Iniesta to score the 4th goal of the 4-0 defeat of Real Madrid in the middle of the Santiago Bernabéu. On November 8, against Villarreal, Neymar scored an anthological goal. In the 39th minute of the second half, the Brazilian striker received a good pass from Luis Suarez, took a hat-trick at defender Jaume Costa and finished strong with his right leg, without let the ball fall to the ground, thus scoring a great goal, Barcelona's 3rd in the match. With the 3-1 victory, the Catalan club took the lead in La Liga. In December, Neymar played in the final of the Club World Cup, against River Plate. Despite not having a brilliant performance, the striker provided important assists and made beautiful individual plays, helping Barca to win by 3-0 and win their 5th title of the year. 2016. On January 11, Neymar participated in the FIFA award for the Best of the Year 2015. The Brazilian competed for the first time for the FIFA Ballon d'Or award, being the first Brazilian player to be in the dispute since Kaká, in 2007, won the prize. Coincidentally, the award was given by Kaká himself. However, Neymar was in 3rd. In addition, Neymar was also part of FIFA's ideal team, along with 3 other Brazilians, Daniel Alves, Thiago Silva and Marcelo. Along with the entire Barcelona squad, Neymar attended the memorial in honor of the idol Johan Cruyff, who had died on March 24. Neymar's outfit was what drew attention. The star appeared wearing a backwards hat and dark glasses, inappropriate pieces for the occasion. Neymar was not forgiven the criticism, even being called arrogant, by commentator Paulo César Vasconcelos. After a period without scoring goals, Neymar became the target of criticism from Barcelona fans, being charged not only for the lack of football, but also for excessive anger. He returned to score only in the final of the Copa del Rey against Sevilla, scoring the 2nd goal of the Catalan victory by 2-0, which gave the title of the Doblete, Spanish Championship and Copa del Rey, to Barca. Neymar ends the 2015-16 season with 31 goals scored in 50 matches played. Due to his presence with the Brazilian national team during the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro and in the 2 qualifying games for the 2018 Cup, Neymar only made his debut for Barcelona in the 2016-17 season in the confrontation against Alaves for the 4th round of the Spanish Championship, in which Barca suffered their first defeat in the competition, 2-1 at the Camp Nou. In his second game of the season, Neymar redeemed himself. The number 11 was one of the protagonists of the 7-0 defeat of Celtic in a match valid for the first round of the UEFA Champions League group stage. In addition to scoring a beautiful goal from a free kick, the Brazilian provided 4 assists, being the first player to reach that mark in a single match in the history of the competition. In the following match, the number 11 shirt was again highlighted, helping Barca thrash Leganés away from home by 5-1 in a match valid for the 4th round of the Spanish Championship. In addition to having scored the 3rd goal of the game and conceded the penalty converted by Messi in the second half, the Brazilian made several moves and even drew attention when he argued with his teammate, the midfielder, also Brazilian Rafinha. On September 24, Neymar stood out in the 5-0 defeat of Sporting Gijón, in a match valid for the 6th round of La Liga. The Brazilian was the author of 2 goals and had a great performance, being elected the best player on the field in the absence of Messi. He ended 2016 on a low note at Barcelona, scoring few goals for the 2016-17 season and being left out of the FIFA Ballon d'Or dispute, placing 5th. 2017. He started 2017 with a lot of criticism due to a lackluster performance in the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final against Atletico Madrid on February 1. He redeemed himself with a brilliant performance 3 days later in a 3-0 win over Athletic Bilbao in La Liga. On February 12, Neymar scored a goal in the 6-0 defeat of Alaves, in a match valid for La Liga. With this goal, the number 11 surpassed the idol Ronaldinho Gaucho and reached the mark of 95 goals for the club, becoming the 3rd Brazilian to score more goals for the Catalan club, behind only Rivaldo and Evaristo de Macedo. He stood out in the 6-1 defeat of Sporting de Gijón that put Barca at the top of La Liga. In that game, the number 11 scored a beautiful goal from a free kick and reached the mark of 100 goals for the club. Also in this match he gave assists to Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi. In the following match, on March 4 against Celta de Vigo, the number 11 again stood out and scored a beautiful goal through coverage, helping the Catalan team to win by 5-0. For the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League 2016-17, Neymar was one of the highlights of the victory that qualified Barcelona for the quarterfinals in what was considered a miracle. Despite the defeat in the first leg by 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain, Barca managed to turn the aggregate score around by winning the second game by 6-1 at Camp Nou with 2 goals from the number 11, one from a free kick and the other from a penalty. In addition, it was also his assistance for the classification goal scored by Sergi Roberto in the last shot of the game. He received a standing ovation on March 19, at Camp Nou, after performing a beautiful individual move during the match against Valencia, valid for the Spanish Championship. In the move, the Brazilian started from the defense in a quick counterattack and surrounded by 2 markers, dribbled, invaded the area and played for André Gomes to give final numbers to Barca's victory by 4-2. On April 2, in Barcelona's 4-1 victory over Granada, in a match valid for La Liga, Neymar had a great performance, scoring his 100th goal in the Catalan club's shirt, and even providing an assist. In the first game of the 2017-18 preseason, in a friendly against Juventus for the 2017 International Champions Cup, he scored both goals in Barcelona's 2-1 victory. A few days later, he would say goodbye to the Catalan team in a friendly against Real Madrid, in which his team won by 3-2. Paris Saint-Germain. 2017-18. On August 2, 2017, Barcelona announced, through an official statement, Neymar's departure from the club. Paris Saint-Germain paid the release fee of €222 million, 821.4 million Brazilian reals in the quotation of the day, for the striker, making Neymar the most expensive player of all time. On August 3, Barcelona announced that he had received payment of the fine, officially terminating his contract with the Spanish team and being free to sign with Paris Saint-Germain. Hours later, he was officially announced by Paris Saint-Germain, signing a contract until June 2022. The athlete received the number 10 shirt for Paris and was presented at the Parc des Princes Stadium in front of 40,000 people on August 5, before of a match between the club from Paris and Amiens valid for Ligue 1. He made his debut on August 13, 2017, for the second round of the French Championship, against Guingamp, at the Stade du Redouro. In that game, Neymar participated in the first goal, assisted Edinson Cavani's goal and closed the scoring by completing his pass, scoring his first goal with the Paris Saint-Germain shirt, and closing the 3-0 victory. In the following round, playing for the first time at home, in the Parc des Princes, against Toulouse, he had a standout performance in the 6-2 defeat. He scored PSG's first and last goal, assisted Adrien Rabiot's second and for the fifth by Layvin Kurzawa, in addition to having conceded the penalty that resulted in the fourth goal of the Parisian team, converted by Cavani. On September 8, for the fifth round of Ligue 1 against Metz, at the Stade Saint-Symphorien, he assisted the first goal of the match, scored by Cavani, and scored the third in the 5-1 victory. Group stage of the UEFA Champions League, against Celtic, in Scotland, he opened the scoring after receiving a pass from Rabiot, in addition to assisting the second goal of the game, scored by Kylian Mbappé, in a game that ended 5-0, keeping his average of 1 goal and 1 assist per game. In the next match for the league, against Bayern Munich, at the Parc des Princes, he had a gala performance, scoring a goal and assisting Daniel Alves, after making a beautiful individual play. On September 30, he stood out in a match against Bordeaux valid for Ligue 1, scoring a great goal from a free kick and another from a penalty, in the 6-2 defeat. He made another one for the third round of the Champions League group stage where he helped in the away victory over Anderlecht by 4-0, maintaining the 100% advantage of the Parisian team in the main European competition at club level. He made another foul in the derby against Olympique de Marseille that ended 2-2, the same game in which he suffered his first expulsion by PSG. On October 31, he scored one of the goals that competed as the most beautiful of the fourth round of the Champions League group stage. The goal was scored in a beautiful finish from outside the area in the victory over Anderlecht by 5-0 at the Parc des Princes, result that already qualified the Paris team for the round of 16. On November 22, he equaled Rivaldo among the Brazilians with the most goals scored in the UEFA Champions League. The feat was achieved with the 2 goals that the number 10 scored in the 7-1 defeat of Celtic, at the Parc des Princes. In that match, Neymar was named man of the match. On January 17, he scored 4 times in the 8-0 thrashing of Dijon, in addition to providing 2 assists for goals by Ángel Di Maria and Kylian Mbappé. 10 days later he returned to play for PSG, after recovering from an ankle injury, and had a great performance in the 4-0 victory over Montpellier in which he took over the Ligue 1 runner-up, where he scored 2 goals in this match and he also participated in the play of the historic goal of the Uruguayan Edinson Cavani. On February 25, Neymar suffered a broken 5th metatarsal in his right foot against Olympique de Marseille, 133. The player was released by PSG to operate with the doctor of the Brazilian team, Rodrigo Losmar, who gave 3 months for the striker to return to the pitch. 2018-19. After the 2018 FIFA World Cup, Neymar won a vacation and missed pre-season, not participating in the International Champions Cup. He reappeared on August 2, 2 days before Paris Saint-Germain's first official game, in the French Super Cup against Monaco. He started the match on the substitute bench, coming on for the final 15 minutes in the 4-0 victory. On August 12, 2018, Neymar scored his first goal of the season in a match against Convalid for the first round of Ligue 1 won by 3-0. In the following round, he scored the first goal in a 3-1 victory over Guingamp. On August 25, he scored the third goal in a 3-1 victory over Angers, when he collected a pass from Kylian Mbappé at the Parc des Princes. On September 1, he scored the opening goal in a 4-2 victory over Nîmes Olympique after completing a pass from Thomas Meunier. On September 18, he contributed an assist to Kylian Mbappe's goal in a 3-2 defeat by Liverpool in the Champions League. 5 days after the Champions League duel, he provided another assist for Thomas Meunier in the 3-1 victory over Rennes in a Ligue 1 game. The third goal of the match in the 4-1 victory. He scored 2 more goals against Nice on September 29 in Ligue 1. For the group stage of the Champions League, Neymar had an emblematic performance in the 6-1 victory over Estrella Vermelha, valid for the second round, where he scored 3 goals, 2 of which were free kicks, and was elected as the best player of the match. 4 days after the thrashing of the Serbian club, Neymar scored and assisted for one of Mbappe's 4 goals in a match against Lyon. On November 2, against Lille, he scored the second goal of the 2-1 victory over the then second-place leader of the French championship when he received a pass from Mbappe. On November 11, Neymar scored and assisted Edinson Cavani's goal in the 4-0 victory over Monaco at the Stade Louis II, home of the Principality club. In a duel against Liverpool for the Champions League, he scored the second goal of the 2-1 victory at the Parc des Princes, and with that goal he became the Brazilian footballer who most scored goals in the competition, surpassing Kaká. On December 2, against Bordeaux, Neymar scored the first goal of the match, which ended in a 2-2 draw at Stade Matmut Atlantique, putting an end, until then, to PSG's 100% success in the French championship. In the last round of the Champions League group stage, Neymar scored the second goal of the match and contributed with an assist to Kylian Mbappe's goal, the fourth in the 4-1 over Estrella Vermelha, ranking the French club in first place in its group. On his 2019 debut, he scored the second goal and set up Julian Draxler's goal in a 4-0 win over GSI Pontivy in the Coupe de France. On January 9, despite the goal scored by him, PSG was unable to hold the result and ended up being eliminated from the League Cup by Guingamp. In the 21st round of the French, PSG applied a resounding rout over the same Guingamp by 9-0, Neymar scored twice, Mbappe and Cavani 3 goals each, and Meunier closed the account for the Parisian club. On January 23, against Strasbourg, Neymar stepped on the lawn falsely and felt pain in the same region of the 5th metatarsal of his right foot, injured in 2018. After trying to return to the match, the number 10 was replaced by Moussa Diaby. Days after the incident, PSG announced the striker's recovery period, set at 10 weeks. The injury made the Brazilian miss important games. He was left out of the round of 16 of the Champions League against Manchester United, in which the English would beat the Parisians in a comeback inside the Parc des Princes and qualify for the next phase, while PSG bittered the third consecutive elimination in the octaves. 2019-20. During pre-season, Neymar expressed his desire to leave Paris Saint-Germain, according to club manager Leonardo. Several clubs even negotiated his signing, including Real Madrid and Barcelona. During the negotiations, Neymar was removed from the club, starting to train separately from the main squad. After the transfer window closed, and without an agreement with any club, he was reinstated again, being confirmed as a starter in the match against Strasbourg, in a duel valid for the 5th round of Ligue 1. In September, he scored his first goals of the season, deciding 2 matches for the French championship, both won by PSG by the minimum score. The first goal was against Strasbourg, on the 14th, and the second against Lyon, on the 22nd. He had good results in the round of 16 of the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund. In the first leg, played at the Westfalenstadion, Neymar scored but could not avoid a 2-1 defeat, which featured the brilliance of the Norwegian striker Erling Haaland. He was decisive in the return match when he scored again, this time with a header inside the area, in the Parisian victory by 2-0, which represented PSG's first trip to the quarterfinals after 3 years falling in the round of 16. After 3 consecutive years falling in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League, Neymar finally gets the long-awaited trip to the semi-finals in the competition with Paris Saint-Germain, passing through one of the biggest surprises of the edition, Atlanta. Being PSG's main player, Neymar had a gala performance, assisting Marquinhos to score the first goal, and created the move for Mbappé to give the pass to Choupo-Moting to enshrine Paris Saint-Germain's victory in the 48th minute of the second half, by 2-1 and the upset, equaling the best campaign in the history of the team in the competition. In the semi-final, PSG beat RB Leipzig by 3-0, with Neymar assisting for the second goal and secured its first final in history. In that same match, Neymar also entered the top 10 of players with the most assists in Champions history. According to official UEFA data, this was the Brazilian star's 26th goal pass, tying with Fabregas, Luis Suarez and Zlatan Ibrahimovic in 8th place. In the final of the UEFA Champions League, Neymar had a lackluster performance and PSG was defeated by 1-0 by Bayern Munich, thus becoming runner-up and without the main objective of the season. 2020-21. A season that started a few days after the Champions League final, was very promising for Neymar and company, but already in the second game of the season, on September 13, Neymar was involved in a case of racism with the player Álvaro González, from Olympique de Marseille, who, according to the Brazilian, used racist terms against himself in the final minutes of the match lost by PSG. There was a negative repercussion for the Spaniard, but Neymar ended up being punished, receiving 2 games of suspension for physical aggression after the involved. He stayed 5 games away due to an ankle injury, starting the French Super Cup final against Olympique de Marseille on the bench. 173, Neymar entered only in the second half and scored the second goal of the 2-1 victory, after converting the penalty conceded by Mauro Icardi. With the conquest of the 3rd French Super Cup in a row, this was his 31st official title in his career. 2021-22. Even with the League One title and the unprecedented mark of 100 goals in the 3 teams in which he played in his career, Neymar accumulated a negative mark with PSG. The striker ended the 2021-22 season with the lowest number of goals since arriving in Europe in 2013. Neymar had to deal again with injuries that took him out of action for months, suspensions, and the irregularity of the team. The Brazilian had 21 participations in goals, with 13 scored and 8 assists, adding the performances for the French Championship and the UEFA Champions League. 2022-23. The season at PSG started troubled, with signs of a possible crisis between Neymar and another star of the team, striker Kylian Mbappé. Shortly after PSG's victory over Montpellier, on August 13, the climate in the locker room worsened due to the controversy of penalties in the confrontation. The controversy arose due to Mbappé having wasted the first penalty in favor of PSG, around the 21st minute of the first half. 20 minutes later, Paris Saint-Germain had another penalty in their favor and, after talking to Mbappé, Neymar knocked and converted the kick. The Brazilian even scored one more goal, with a header, and PSG thrashed Montpellier by 5-2. Neymar returned to have a great performance in another defeat, this time against Lille, on August 21. In addition to scoring 2 goals in PSG's 7-1 victory, the striker also provided 3 assists, 2 of which were for Frenchman Mbappé, leaving behind any controversy between the two. With the goals scored, Neymar reached 5 in League One and isolated himself in the artillery of the competition. On January 14, 2023, Neymar was one of those announced by FIFA as a competitor for the Best Player in the World Award, the Best 2022. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to our channel, like and leave your comments.